Hello, welcome. First, finally time for the recommendation of the first. This theme is hosted by me. Um, so I am not doing too many books for this video because I will also be doing a TBR video. However, since most teams get 2 recommendation videos, I did try to be, a bit more. I'm the one recommending basically, so I try to be a bit it's not really diverse, it's a lot of middle grade to be fair. But I tried, okay? I tried. Just so you know, I did. This hood. I'm just back from work and I slapped it on really fast, but it does not work for me, does it? No. Let's get cracking with recommendations so I can put it up. First up is a buddy read. This basically means a book you will read with somebody else. And that's it. It doesn't have to be a specific book. It's just a book you really want to read and a friend of you really wants to read. So you read them together. It can also be a book for book club that you need to fit in. I can't really recommend books for this. Because, I'm not sure what book clubs you're part of. However, a bunch of us is going to read Rainbow Grey, the 3rd book in the series. So, me, Kate, and Rosie are gonna read it together. So if you want to join, let us know. And, that will be our buddy read down. For Wolf Out, we need to read a book with a werewolf in it. Turns out, and I forgot, but they reminded me on stream, so I'm really grateful for this. Because I didn't think I read a book with a werewolf in it. And I was thinking like maybe Beauty and the Beast retellings will count because in some of them he's a werewolf and he's kind of a wolf-like creature, and he will return to a human. So I would count that if you're struggling. However, in Nevermore, there is a small side character that is actually a werewolf. And I forgot about that. But this is your reason to read Nevermore because it's a great series. This is about a girl who turns 13, but she always learned she's cursed and she will die on her 13th birthday. But just before she turned 13, a man named Jupiter Nord will whisk her away to a magical academy where she learns the true meaning of her curse. We also need to read a book with a colorful cover because Enid is such a colorful character, and for this I chose the series 13 by Michelle Harrison. This is a 3-book series and it has a prequel, so 4. This is written by Michelle Harrison, my favorite author of all time. The books are really, really pretty, and it's basically fairies. So it's about this girl who can see fairies, and she tells people, because the fairies get her in a lot of trouble, and then she tells them it were the fairies, and now people think they're crazy. She's crazy, and she is actually sent to her grandma for a bit because her parents can't handle her. Turns out, there's a lot of stuff happening, but I can tell you, she's not crazy. And I really like this book, and actually the prequel, One Wish, is my favorite, so I would highly recommend you to start with that one. I'm sorry if the lighting is really weird. I'm quickly filming this after work because it has to go up yesterday, so we're late. So we're just going with it at this point. I think it's because it's a bit up, but I'm not sure. My camera's almost dying, so I don't have time to figure it out. For a books in this series, I don't really have a specific recommendation. Because just read a book you really want to read that, is in a series. That's why it's on here. But Nevermore is a series. 13 Treasures is a series I already mentioned, so you could count those up. And I will mention a lot of series in this book, so I will just specify if it's a series. And you can use it for this prompt as well. And I hope this works for you, because I think we're all reading series already, so I don't really have to recommend you a book, but you know. For a side character stealing the show, Nevermore would actually work, because Juniper North is amazing. Also, the big angry cat. I forgot her name, but she's fabulous. But I chose House Moving Castle, because Lucifer, the demon in a flame, is absolutely amazing. It's the best character, and you know, he's a side character. This is, you know, the book where the Studio Ghibli movie is based on, and this is also part of a series. This would definitely count as a book with a hug for a lot of people, so you know, count it if you want to. A book about friendship is, I chose A Darkness of Dragons, because I don't hear enough people talking about this, but this is about a boy who gets sent to jail, and I absolutely forgot the reason. Because it's right at the beginning. And he breaks out because of a war that is starting. And, you know, he gets kind of thrown out of the tower. And he meets this griffin. And they're going on adventures. But as long on their adventures, friends keep adding, you know, they keep meeting new people, and they're just adding friends. It's a bit like The Wizard of Oz. And it's so cute, it's so wholesome. It will definitely count for cozy book. It is also a series, so it will count for that. It is a Pied Piper retelling, which you don't see often, and it's a fabulous one. I absolutely loved it, so I would highly recommend this one. For A Moon on the Cover, I have quite a few recommendations, because apparently this is the one where people struggle with. And I thought it was really hard, but I found a lot, honestly. So I think it will be fine. First up, the second and the third book of the Evelyn Jones series has moons on the cover. There you go. There you go. This series is about Evelyn Jones, and every book something else spooky happens. So the first is a ghost book, but that does not have a moon on the cover, so you can't count that one. The second one is a witch book, which was really, really good. And the third one is a fairy book, but a dark fairy book. We also got Rules for Vampires by Alex Fawkes. I really love this. This is also part of a series, as is Evelyn Jones. There is a moon, and this is about Leo, and she does not want to be a vampire, but she is. But she does not want to drink human blood. And it's a super cozy, cute book. It would definitely count for cozy. It's a book in a series. It's kind of colorful, isn't it? So really fun. Also, The Legend of Skeleton Man has, where is it? Oh, here, in the eye. A moon on it. This is about Molly, and her father grew up in the Mohawk Reserve, and it's based on the legend of the Skeleton Man. And really weird things happen to Molly, her parents, and then she gets taken by a man that looks a bit too much on the Skeleton Man of the legend. It's a whole thing, and I absolutely loved it. A Castle of Tangled Magic has a moon. This is a Sophie Anderson book, and they're always good. This is a Slavic folktale inspired story about 13-year-old Olia, who lives in this castle, and the magic of the castle is broken. And Ollie is trying to figure out how to fix it. This is a portal fantasy. There are all kinds of creatures in this. It's so cute. And then The House on Chicken Leg, also by Sophie Anderson, also has a moon, which is again a folklore-inspired tale. And this tale is based on Baba Yaga. And it's amazing. Sorry if anything changed. My camera died. Just so you know. I bet you can read The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I personally really like this. This is also, I think it would count for a side character that steals the show, because she has this friend that is a dragon, but he's very tiny, but he thinks he's very big, and it's hilarious. So I think it would work for that as well. You could also read Coraline by Neil Gaiman, obviously. This is again the book where the movie is based on, so I think most people know where this is about. But Coraline finds a spooky mirrored world with a mom and dad that has buttons in their eyes. And I think that were all I've read and I could easily find so far. And I think it's quite a few for a prompt that seems to be a bit harder. Then we have a cozy book, and this might be my favorites. I think every single book I told you about so far will count for cozy book. They're pretty much all middle grade and cozy. Except for the Skeleton Man, that's not really cozy. That's a bit more on the creepy side. But even Evelyn Joan feels really, really eerie, but the friendship in it is so cozy, I would count it. So, but I got a new book for you because the cozy books are the best. And it's A Wizard's Guide to Defense Baking by T. Kingfisher. This was so wholesome. This was so cute. This is about a girl who doesn't really have a lot of magic for, the standards of her world. But she has this would definitely count for a side character stealing the show, because her sourdough is amazing. He has kind of his own life and stuff. He eats that rat if he's hungry. It's really, really funny. But also, she kind of needs to bake. She needs to save the world with baking. So gingerbread men save the day. And if that isn't cozy, I don't know what is. Also, The Other Alice by Michelle Harrison would count. This is about a book. This is about a girl named Alice, and she writes really well. And Mitch loves that. Mitch is the little sister. She loves riddles. She loves the stories her sister tells her and writes about. But one day, Alice goes missing, and all these characters from her books come to life. And it's getting a bit scary. There's a magical cat involved. I think it's cozy. A randomly selected book is very hard to recommend, because that would not be random, is it? So basically, just pick a couple of books you really want, shuffle them blindly in, point, or let your dog choose, let your cat choose, hold them behind your back and let your partner choose or your friend choose. Put some smileys down in the Discord and let us choose by smileys. Anything like that would count, but you can definitely pick books for this that you would like to read. Get loud, because the bears are very loud at the full moon. So we need to listen to an audiobook. And for this, I would say any Neil Gaiman audiobook. They're so good. He's such a good narrator. They always have this sort of music in between, and they're really, really good for that. Also, Ben Miller's are good for that reason. They also have that bit extra, But any audiobook by a book that you really want to read would work for this. For a book to cry with, this can be sad tears, this can be happy tears, this can be wholesome tears, this can be I'm touched in my feelings tears. Any tears will do. They don't have to be much, just one would count. And honestly, if you think that will happen in this book, but it doesn't, it still counts. As long as you think it really would happen. You know, it has a chance to do that. I am someone that doesn't cry a lot about books, so I don't really cry. I did cry, but I recommended those books very, very much already. So I chose The House of the Cerulean Sea, The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, because it almost happened. But this is a very wholesome, cutesy book. So there are I'm hit in my feelings, cozy-esque kind of tears happening possible. So that's my recommendation for this. This is about a guy in his 30s being sent to this island with all these mystical kids to find out if they're any danger to society. And the guy kind of figures out he doesn't really want to be in the life he is, and how, he's trying to figure out what he does want and who he really is. So I think it will work. For a book like a hawk, I chose the Serena Valentino Villainous series. These are all Disney retellings from the point of the villain. And I absolutely love anything Disney, anything fairy tales, feels like a hug to me. So I recommend this even when it's from the villain side. People don't seem to know you need to read this in order. It's not a preferred way, it's a must. There is a storyline going throughout the books, and if you do not read them in order, you will not get it. So, you need to start with Fairest of Them All, in case you're wondering. But I do highly recommend these books. First is of the Evil Queen. The second is of the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. The third is of Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Fourth is my girl Maleficent. Then we have the Old Sisters that tie every book together. And they're new characters, but they're really, really good. I think that one was my favorite book. And it has illustrations in it as well. Then we have... Oh, I forgot her name. Mother Gothel. And then we're with Cruella. After that is Lady Tremaine. And then Hook. And in this summer, Hades will appear. So, there you go. I also would highly recommend the Lost Wonderland Diaries. This is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, because retellings are a hug. At least here in this channel, we believe that. This is about kids who find the old diary from Mr. Lewis Carroll, and he writes how he has been to Wonderland, and that's where they're going, and it was really cute and wholesome. It's one of my favorites, so I highly recommend it. For an outdoor book, it's Abby Elphinstone galore, because I thought immediately of Jungle Drop. This is set in a jungle, but every book in a Rumpelstar series, because this is not the first, but look at that cover. This is definitely an outdoorsy book. But every book in a Rumpelstar series has an outdoor setting, so you can pick anyone. And they're companion novels, so you don't really have to read them in order anyway. So you can just do this one if you want to, because this is about Fox and Fibber. They're twins, and they have been rivals for, as long as they're born. One of them is set to inherit the family fortune, so they're fighting over that. And they kind of learn to, work together in the jungle. Also, Sky Song from Abby Elphinstone would definitely work. This is my favorite polar fantasy ever. And it's mostly set outdoors. It's set in the forest. It's set in snowy landscapes. There is a wild eagle helping out. The book was amazing. absolutely amazing. So I would highly recommend it. But it's also by Abby Ebelstein. For a book about acceptance, I would recommend The Midnight Library by Thomas Haig? Matt Haig. Matt Haig it is. This could be very triggering if you're dealing with depression yourself. Especially if you have suicidal thoughts or have had those. I am very glad I waited until my depression was fairly over. Because it was very triggering. It would have been if I read it in my depression. This is about a person with a depression that took their own life. And in the afterlife, they are met with this library of all their lives that they could have had. And in the end, she can choose if she wants to live or not. So it's heavily based on depression. But, that's the thing. The person needs to accept themselves for who they are. They need to accept their choices and how to deal with them and how life could be. And that's why it's in there for this recommendation. But this could be very triggering for people with depression. So please be aware of that. A light-hearted book that is full of acceptance is Starfell by Dominique Villante. Willow has to deal with a lot of acceptance about herself because she don't think she's good enough because everybody else has more magic than her. And Dominique explicitly said a couple of times this is about acceptance. And, accepting who you are and getting stronger for it, because she has one half of an arm missing and she had to deal with that. And that's, basically how she wrote Willow. And I love that. So this is in for a book about acceptance. This is also a series. And then onto the last book. It's a popular book. And I already talked about so many popular books. Starfell. Popular book. Midnight Library is a popular book. I think Sky Song is a popular book. Nevermore is definitely a popular book. The 13 Treasures were really popular. Coraline is very popular. The Girl Who Drank the Moon was very popular. I think House Moving Castle is very popular. Any Sophie Anderson book is very popular. The Evelyn Jones series is not as popular as I want it to be because I want it to shine everywhere. But it's still popular. Any Neil Gaiman book gotta be popular. House in the Cerulean Sea is very popular. The Villain series by Serena Valentino is very popular. But in case you still need more, I gotta throw in my favorite, A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison again. They're also very colorful. They would work for cozy. They would work for a side character that's stealing the show. The younger sister that you see the least is the best one. Also Granny. Granny is amazing. This is a magical middle grade that feels fairy tale-esque. And it's about these three sisters that has magical objects in the family. The Wayward Children by Shannon McGuire are a very popular series that will fulfill a lot of your prompts, and they're very small. So this would work. This is a cozy book. This is a book in a series. There is a lot of acceptance about this. Some of those books are very outdoorsy. I don't think there's a werewolf in it, but anything else will probably work for this. And the last, because I have to mention it, is Pages & Co. by Anna James. This is a popular book for a reason. This is an ode to book lovers. This is about Tilly. And Tilly is a book wanderer, which means she can travel into books and relive that story. But also her favorite characters can come to her in the bookstore because she lives in a bookstore with her grandparents. And it's amazing. But also a very popular book. So these were all my fur recommendations. If you still don't have enough, you wait until April for my TBR video. If you have any more recommendations for the furs, please leave them down below. And I'll see you in April. Bye, nerds!